Hey, primos, cousins. Today, in Jaime's kitchen, we will take these chili peppers and make mole for tamales. I call it tamole. For your tamale, we're going to need 4 types of chiles. 2 black and 2 red. Black chiles matter, as do black lives. Notice the chile negro, the chile pasilla, also known as ancho. Here come the reds, chile guajillo, very important in Mexican cuisine. And finally, last but not least, chile California. Our next step is to clean the chile pods to remove the seeds and stems. I will normally cut off the stem, slice it down the middle, open it up, and remove seeds. Some chiles have more seeds than others. This one was fairly clean, easy to do. This is going to take you about half an hour to get through all of your chiles. Okay, very good. We finished cleaning the chiles. You know, it took a little while, and as I sat here thinking about, the chiles and their names and their size, colors, etc., I couldn't help but wonder why they call the one on the bottom the chile negro, and the chile on top is the Mexican famous guajillo. I don't know, it's strange. At the end of the day, you should have a colander full of dried chili pods, relatively clean, and a whole bunch of stems and seeds. Perfect to throw in the garden, see what comes up. We need to rinse the chilies under cold water to get off all the dirt, and they are pretty dirty. How dirty could they be? Let's find out. Pretty dirty. Okay, put your clean chiles into a large pot, add water, add some aromatics like onion and garlic, and go ahead and bring it to a boil. Reduce the heat and let it simmer for about 20-25 minutes. And the chiles will all be nice and soft. At which point we're going to put them in the blender and make a real sauce. Okay, cousins, here we go. In order to spice up the chile mole, we're going to add 1.5 tablespoons of kosher salt, 1 teaspoon of ground cumin, 1 tablespoon of oregano, 1 white onion, and 1 garlic into the pool. Okay, bring that up to a boil and let the chili soften. It takes about 20 minutes or so. Okay, so our chiles have boiled. They're nice and soft. I put in just a little bit of liquid in with about half of the chilies. I got my blend tech set to low. This is the part where it could be dangerous if it explodes. At low, we should be okay. Here we go. I will eventually turn it up to medium and to high, blend it really well, and then we'll do the second batch. Okay, so the first batch is done. Here we go. Check the consistency. Pretty thick, kind of like a real thick pancake batter. This is a very good blender. If you don't have a real good blender, you might want to strain it through a strainer. Doesn't have to be too fine of a strainer, just a medium strainer will do. On to batch number 2. So here's your finished product. We've got the thick chili sauce. It has salt, it has oregano, it has cumin, and it has a little bit of garlic. I did not blend the garlic nor the onion that I cooked with the chiles, but I did add a little bit of garlic paste. Hi cousins, I'm back. As you can see, we've got all the fixings we need. We've got meat, we've got chile, we've got flour and oil for the roux, we've got salt, we've got oregano, we've got garlic and onions. That's what you're going to need for this step. When it's all said and done, probably about 4 or 5 hours from now, we'll have our chile with meat ready to go for assembly, final assembly on Monday. Get your ingredients, get your masa going. Here we go. I watched a 3-minute video on YouTube on how to debone a Boston butt. And the guy was from the South, and he said basically, this is the way you do the Boston butt head deboning. Here we go. Hold on to your britches. The meat trimming is done. Took about 2.5 hours. We've got 17 pounds of meat. We've got 8 pounds of grizzle and fat that I removed. And we're going to be adding now salt, 2 onions, 1 garlic, a little bit of oregano. Basically flavor it up a little bit. Oh, a couple bay leaves, not shown. And we'll be basically making the broth in 2 different pots. That way we'll have plenty of broth left over for the gravy, for the mole. It's about 7:36, and as you can see, we're just beginning to get to a boil. Scum has been formed on the surface, so we're going to do some skim the scum. So I'm going to be skimming both of these pots, and I'm going to boil them for about 30 minutes, and then I'm going to check the meat. I cut it relatively small, so 30 minutes might be it. Typically it's about 40 minutes. While the meat is simmering, we're going to turn our attention to the roux. This will be our thickening agent. We're going to start with 4 cups of oil. Yes, I said 4 cups. 1, 2, 4, oh, what the heck, 5. The beauty of roux is that you could save it in the fridge like for years, and whenever you need to thicken a sauce or anything you want to thicken, you just pull it out and use it. It's really versatile, really good stuff. So we're going to be adding, when that heats up, we're going to be adding flour. And this is what happens when you make a dumbhead move and try to move the pan with 5 cups of oil before it's ready. Let's roll. Now we've got 4 cups of oil. Let's check the temperature. Yeah, it's about 280 degrees. Good time to add the flour. I'm going to be adding the flour through a sifter while stirring. And attempting not to get any lumps. We've got some lumps, but it'll be okay. So I'm going to continue adding flour. Did I mention don't stop stirring? You're going to be here about 20 minutes, and you're going to stir constantly. If you burn the roux, you'll see little dark specks, and it's best at that point very carefully to get rid of the roux. It's going to be very hot. You let it cool off first and start over. Black specks are bad. Keep the temperature relatively low. I'm still adding flour, and something I forgot to mention, always use a flat bottom spatula when you're making roux, because you want to basically be scraping the bottom and the sides at all times. Alrighty, so here we go. This is the consistency we're looking for, kind of like a thick pancake batter. And we're going to be continuing to scrape and move and stir without stopping for about 15 minutes. Note the color. We want it to get a little bit darker, maybe like a penny. Okay, too dark is not good. Too light is not good. We've got the proper color now. It's kind of like the color of a penny or like a cafe mocha. I've removed it from the heat and I'm going to continue stirring it because it will burn just with the residual heat. And I should have mentioned this earlier, but this is like molten lava. Be very careful when you're stirring it. Keep your spoon on the bottom because you don't want to get any on you. It'll burn like crazy. The roux's done. We got our broths. The meat is nice and tender. We got our big bones over here. I will pick the meat off of there. And basically what we want to do now is we want to run our broth through a strainer. Not that one. A real strainer. That's a spider. And we want to basically kind of clean it up a little bit. Let's start by removing the meat. And then we're going to clean up the broth. Okay, let's clean up the broth. There's a lot of suspended material in there, as you can see. The spider will catch the big stuff, and the strainer will get the little stuff. One pot is clean, one large one to go. To our clean, warm broth, we're going to add some of the chile, the mole that we created. And I'll put not quite half. This is a smaller batch. And we'll drop it in, and it's going to melt. Holy moly. We're back. So the meat is done. It's cooling. We're going to be putting that into a bowl and or a Ziploc once it fully cools. Right now we're going to basically be adding the roux to the broth, the clean broth that has about half of the chili. We will be adding some more chili in a bit. I'm going to end up probably filling this up. This fits in my refrigerator. The real large soup pot was not. So I'm going to probably fill this up, and this will be the amount of mole that we have. Once we add the meat, it'll overflow, but we'll use a bigger pot at that point. Our roux, I just stirred it. You can see it's kind of like peanut butter-like. So we're going to add it and stir. So this is our thickening agent. Probably going to take 2 or 3 big spoonfuls. We are going to want to bring the mole up to a boil so we can see the final consistency. Okay, here we are. The mole is coming up to heat. It has quite a bit of salt already, so I'm not going to add any salt. Normally I would add some bouillon, some Nor de Suiza, but I am going to add 1 teaspoon of ground cumin and my mom's secret ingredient, Eagle brand chili powder. They used to call it Aguila, but now they use a sombrero. What's up with that? Here we go. I'm going to dump this whole thing in there. We're tasting the cumin and the Aguila chili powder really kicked it up. We're almost there. I'm going to add a little bit of paprika, sweet paprika, just because it's good pepper. I still have quite a bit of chili sauce left, as you can see. I may be adding a little bit more. And I'm definitely adding some more roux. I'm about to add some more roux to the chile. The chile, I've got the flavor pretty much where I want it to be. I added some more paprika, about another tablespoon of paprika. I added a big heaping teaspoon of chicken bouillon. the one that comes in a jar, and about a half a teaspoon, maybe a little bit less of cumin, just to give it a little bit more kick. And I also put 2 big spoonfuls of the chile. As you can see, there's not much chile left. Probably about maybe a sixth of what we had originally. It was up to there. So Lucy says it tastes pretty good. We've got to get it to a boil. Make sure we have the right thickness. And we're pretty much done. We've reached the boil. Since we last spoke, I added about 3 more spoonfuls of the roux. I think I'm going to end up with about a cup or a cup and a half of leftover roux. I started with 4 cups of oil and about 4 to 5 cups of flour. So it's nice and thick right now. As it cools, it's going to thicken even more, and that'll be perfect for the tamales. Flavor profile is good. I put a little bit more bouillon, and that's it. So you just have to figure out the flavor on your own. But bouillon is your friend. I use chicken bouillon, which worked just fine. You don't need to use beef or pork. There's plenty of pork flavor already. So after cooling just a minute or two, a couple minutes, that's the consistency you want. As it cools, it'll get probably double thick, but when it heats up in the tamale, it'll be just right. I've got extra broth in case I need to make more. I've got extra chile and I've got extra roux. So I'm all set if I need to make more sauce. Hey cousins, can you believe it? We condensed about 7 hours of work into 12 minutes, but we missed the most important part. The most important part is all about family. The memories we have of working with our aunties, our mothers, our grandparents, making tamales. Well, let me tell you, there was a lot of labor that went in before we actually got to assemble them. So in honor of them, in honor of my uncles, I wanted to make this toast. And to do so, we have to do it in tamale fashion with margaritas. So, to your shaker, fill it up with ice. 2 ounces of tequila of your choice. 2 ounces of sweetened stuff. Could be a liqueur. In my case, simple syrup. These are going to be pink margaritas. Fresh lime juice from our garden. Cap it. Shake it. And bring in your loved ones to share. Because sharing is the most important part. We want to wish you a Merry Christmas, Feliz Navidad, Happy New Year. May it be prosperous and sweet for all of you.
Ooh,
And good luck with the tamales. You're going to need it.
Pink for me.
Blue for me. Cheers.
Cheers.
We love you.
Love you. Merry Christmas. Feliz Navidad. Bendiciones.
Blessings.
Salud.
Salud. Delicious.
Oh, yeah. Delicious.
Not bad, actually.
No, it's good.
Salud. Ching.
Delicious.